You are quite possibly looking at the best PC case of 2023, Montech's King 95 Pro. Now, I already released my full review on this thing, but that's in a different video, which you can actually check out right here. Without spoiling too much, one of this case's secrets is its ability to run in two different cooling modes. You've got a full glass mode featuring a curved tempered glass panel showing off all those beautiful RGB fans, or if performance is your passion, they offer an airflow layout too. As sweet as this case is, it leaves a bunch of unanswered questions, like which mode offers the better cooling performance, which model offers the best value, and how hard is it to convert the Pro version to airflow since it ships in full glass mode. Let's find out. Hey YouTube, I'm Danny, welcome to the channel. As you can see, I've already converted my King 95 Pro from liquid cooled to full airflow. And let me tell you, it is no easy task. First, I had to remove all the liquid cooled stuff, which meant cutting all my cable ties and unrouting everything. Obviously, this wouldn't have even been a thing if I had just gone for air cooling at the beginning of the build. But this is Danny's tech channel, where we do everything backwards. I'd say this was the hardest part of the process, which ended up being my fault anyways. When I came up with the idea for the video, only one cooler came to mind. Deepcool's Assassin 4 CPU tower cooler. This thing is massive. In fact, I had to double check to see if it would even fit in the case. It doesn't look like it, but there's still 10 millimeters to spare. I want to give a big shout out to Deepcool for sponsoring today's video and providing the Assassin 4 to use in today's build. Also, for the short time frame that I gave them to provide this thing to get this video done. With all the panels removed, the first thing was to pop out the GPU to allow more room to work. After that, I was able to take out the liquid cooler. Then I proceeded with installing the Assassin 4 on the motherboard. This process was fairly simple since I used AM5 and the motherboard bracket is built in. AM4 and Intel users have nothing to worry about because Montech hooked you up with a large opening in the motherboard tray accessed by simply removing the hard drive cage, just in case you're swapping things out later due to a failed AIO. Hey, it happens more than you think. In case you're curious, air cooler height clearance in the King 95 is 175 millimeters. When I hit up Deepcool, I told them to send me the biggest cooler they've got. This thing looks clean and matches the build perfectly. The Pro version of the King 95 needs the bottom front fan removed to allow the fan bracket room to swing out. There is a thumb screw located at the top of the case that you'll need to loosen, allowing you to lower the top mount post for fan bracket relocation. I'd like to say you don't need tools for this whole process, but unless you're Superman, you're gonna need something to remove those thumb screws, because mine were over tightened. A lot. The bracket is on a double hinge system, so it may take some wiggling to align it with your front mount post and built-in bottom mount. The same thumb screws used to hold the bracket in place originally are reused for front fan mounting. If this airflow focused video has helped you out so far in any way, don't forget to tap that like button to share it with more people who might also need help. I want to point out that the King 95 Pro and King 95 base models have two major differences. The Pro version comes with 6 fans, and they include a 1-to-10 8RGB and PWM fan hub to control all fans in your system. These come pre-installed and cable managed for you. This is great if you'll be using the case in full glass mode. For those of you looking for airflow focused cooling, this is where I hit a snag. The 2 fans installed onto the Magic Fan bracket are Montech's RX140 reverse flows. This means that the fan blade pitch and airflow direction are reversed. Normally, airflow direction travels from the fan side as intake to the bracket side as exhaust. Montech installed RX140s to allow the side fans to push air in, while still providing a clean design with the RGB lit ring. I know it looks like they're backwards, but trust me, they're not. See, it even says reverse on the back of the fans. On the Pro version, if you flip the side bracket to the front without changing the fans, these will exhaust air out of the case instead of in. At this point, I would have created a strange airflow pattern where the bottom fans were intake and the front and rear fans would have been exhaust. Don't forget, I have 3 top fans installed as exhaust as well, so that might have created some weird turbulence in my airflow pattern. For my setup, I wanted a streamlined airflow pattern, So Montech provided me with two AX140 fans, which are standard pull type fans, and they allowed me to create a more traditional intake and exhaust setup. This caused more work for me since the RX140s were all cable managed and plugged into the hub already. This is just something to keep in mind when planning your build. With the new AX140 fans installed, plugged in, and cable managed, I reinstalled the GPU, plugged everything back in, and snapped all the panels back into place. Now we're ready for some temperature testing. Now this is nothing scientific. I don't have any crazy airflow test machine. I'm just a guy in his garage with a will and a way. I ran 3 different tests using both case layouts. First on full glass mode using liquid cooling with the Fractal Design Lumen S36. Then I tested airflow mode using Deepcool's Assassin 4 CPU tower cooler. The CPU in this system is the Ryzen 7 7800X3D, and the GPU is MSI's RTX 4080 Gaming X Trio. The only thing that changed between each layout, besides the front panel and the fans, is the CPU cooler. Cinebench R23 is the test I always use to stress the CPU. The multi-core test runs all cores to 100% utilization. I selected the 10-minute test throttling option. Both layouts achieve the same results with only a 1-degree variance between each other, which is margin of error. Unigine Heaven was up next, which simulates a gaming workload. It runs you through a small digital world where you can crank graphics settings to put more stress on the GPU. I was able to note small differences in this test with the GPU max temperature running about 4 degrees cooler in airflow mode. Surprisingly, the CPU was 4 degrees warmer. Since Unigine Heaven didn't really show much temperature difference at all, I decided to try gaming for myself since that's primarily what this system would be used for. My game of choice today is Fortnite. With the new updates and LEGO World added, my sons and I have really become wrapped up in it. In fact, not to give excuses, but that's why my video production has slowed down lately. I needed a little bit of R&R. The observed maximum temperatures in Fortnite were 51°C on the GPU and 65°C on the CPU, when in full glass layout, and 48 on the GPU and 61°C on the CPU in airflow mode. Oh, I almost forgot, the idle temperature for both systems was 40 degrees Celsius for both configurations. So temperatures really weren't much different between full glass mode and the airflow layout, which I guess should be expected when you shove 9 fans into a PC case. So it really comes down to personal preference, and I'm glad Montech has given us the option here. The question then comes full circle to which King 95 model should you buy? I was going to recommend the base model to all airflow focused builders, but then I thought about it and I realized that the Pro version only costs $40 more for 6 RGB fans and a hub to control everything. Extra fans will cost you about $15 each. Only buying 2 more fans isn't bad compared to needing all of them and still not having a way to control them. I think the Pro version gives you the best value because you get everything included from the base version with 6 RGB fans and a controller. But honestly, either case is a great buy. Because let's say you purchase your own fans, something like Lee & Lee's Unifan or maybe Corsair's new Link system, then the standard King 95 would suit nicely because kits like those come with their own way of controlling everything. But if you want something that's easy, that's already set up for you, and you plan on running it in full glass mode to show off your build anyway, I'd say go for the Pro. I didn't really get to spend a whole lot of time with the Assassin 4 CPU tower cooler, and as big as this thing is, they really gave it a clean look. I may have to make a dedicated video on this one. Oh, by the way, I don't mention this a whole lot, but there is a Danny's Tech Channel Discord page that we created for our YouTube community, where you can come and ask questions about your potential build, or if you run into a problem you can't figure out, myself or one of our members may be able to help you solve it. But I'll leave it linked below in case you want to swing by and check things out for yourself, or you can also show off your build at home. That's it for this one. Actually, that's it until CES. In case you didn't know, CES is the biggest electronics show in the United States, and I'm gonna get to go for the 2nd year in a row thanks to all of you. Everything starts on January 7th and 8th. Or is it the 8th and 9th? It doesn't matter. Don't expect the videos to be as polished as they are here in the studio, but I'll try to cover as much PC tech as I can. And who knows, maybe I'll run into some famous people while I'm there. But don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you haven't already done that, or you won't know when those videos go live. And as I always say, I'm Danny with Danny's Tech Channel, and I'll see you in the next one.